This is like a vlog, except I'm writing 99.9% of the time. Hey everybody, I just wanted to introduce this with my face before I actually got deep into the writing. Today I'm going to be going through the Powersheets prep. Now these are the 2019 Powersheets from Cultivate What Matters. I did a video comparing them to the Inkwell Press and why I decided to go with these over that and why I think people might choose one over the other, and I'll link that up in the cards. But I decided to go through the Powersheets prep process, which actually took me about a week. I followed along with the videos that Laura Casey puts out. I decided that even though I'm cynical and I don't like watching other people's videos to tell me what to do, I'd rather do things myself. I figured if I'm gonna try and stick to these all year, I needed to be all in and at least ignore most of my cynicism for a little while. Just a little while. I promise it'll come back. Stuff you're about to see actually was filmed over the course of a week, so that might change with lighting and various other things, but I will tell you, I found it very helpful. If you are going to do this yourself, I highly recommend not doing it at once. Your hand will fall off, you'll get carpal tunnel, it'll feel like, and your brain is going to explode from all of the deep thinking. This gets pretty personal for me, and I wondered if I should share it, but I always fucking share my personal shit. Apparently that's what I do. I'm nervous to put this out there, but at the same time, if it helps one of you, it's totally worth it. The first thing they tell you to do to start them is to open it up to page 5 and to write your name, because then you know you've started. This is my chicken scratch, and I'm going to use my chicken scratch. So for this page in the video, she wants you to close your eyes and imagine what your year is going to look like and just throw ideas out here. First thing right away, because goddamn it, dude. By summer of this year, we will have been married for 6 years and still not taken our honeymoon yet. And we were hoping to get it out of the way before I have to do dialysis or potentially get a transplant. Time is coming up, so... I got a bunch of stuff on here, some stuff to point out. I know my big goal is to take my kid to General Assembly. It's a big UU get together that they do every year. I'm gonna just use some of these little situations here. She says use the stickers, I'm using the fucking stickers. I'm doing what the video said. I promised Katie as soon as they were old enough to participate in the youth caucus, which means you have to be 15 and have graduated from your freshman year of high school, which that will be this year, and it's on the West Coast, so this must happen. God, I want this to happen so bad. I have no idea if it's gonna happen or not, but I want it. Some of these other things, they don't sound quite so positive, like, you know, take care of my body as it is failing. But that's fucking true. No amount of positive thinking in the world is gonna make my kidneys not be failing. But that doesn't mean I can't be kind to my body. All right, so there's a lot of things here, but this is where we're gonna leave it for right now, and I'm satisfied. And it's fucking messy, and I'm cool with that. So this getting to know me page, the big piece of advice they give you here is to not think too hard about it, so I'm just gonna fucking go. I'm not gonna contemplate too hard. I'm just gonna go with what comes right to the top of my mind, and hopefully at the end of this, I won't feel like I fucked it up. So let me tell you all about these things. Actually, I think I need another sticker. Let's just go for it. Let's be fucking extra. I'll explain in a second. Words that describe me. Now, I'm not trying to be a douche to myself. These are the words that came to mind. Introverted and extroverted, because I can go both ways. Silly. I did not pick organized, because though some of you may think that because of my planner channel. Oh, how little you know, my sweet summer child. Emotional. Loud, stubborn, passionate, and loving. I feel like those are all things that describe me. I could also put tall, but that's always a fucking, like, that's my fucking cop-out answer. My home personal space is usually colorful, relaxing and laid back, lived in and lively, messy and chaotic, which I feel like is like the lived in and lively taken to the next level. My favorite color has been and always will be barfy green. I never use it in my planners because it's not really aesthetically pleasing, but God, it makes me so happy. My favorite song right now is Touch Me from Spring Awakening because I want to sing it. It's not appropriate to sing at my church, but God damn it, I want to sing it. Ways I'm most encouraged: affirming words, praise, hugs, and affection. I'm very touchy-feely when it comes to that stuff. Things I love to do: sing, paint, letter, read, cook, talk, and talk some more, hug, and dance the barf dance, which is not all dancing. It is specifically the barf dance I do. If you've ever watched Spaceballs, the scene in the beginning when Barf is listening to music and he's got like his bucket of fried chicken or whatever and he's eating out of it and he's doing this little dance to this song. It's not on purpose, but my husband calls it the barf dance. I do the same dance to a number of songs that just get me in that place. Straight On by Heart, More Than a Woman by the Bee Gees. Just a handful of songs that make me do the barf dance, and it makes me so happy. My best memories involve spending time with friends and families. I checked this, I circled it, I added a sticker, because by far, the things that, like, if you talk about like filling your cup or whatever, the things that like give you life, make you so happy, 10 out of 10, spending time with friends and family. So I include, you know, the Thanksgivings with my family, the time with my kids, the time I spend at planner meetups where I get to hug and hang out with my friends. Like, if I get to spend time with friends and family, it makes me happy. I love being around people who are fun, loving, and laid back and who encourage me. I feel motivated when someone encourages me or when I'm in a crunch. It actually super motivates me. I'm grateful for my family, Jesse, Katie, RJ, Loki, and my sisters. I'm grateful for my community, of which you are a part of if you're watching this video. I'm grateful for my church. I'm grateful for my kid's stepmom. And I'm grateful for ginger ale and tramadol. It's my painkiller. Sounds like a terrible thing to say, but when you are brushing up on end-stage renal disease, if something makes you feel better, you're very grateful for it. This next part is break your identity box. It's about the things that you put yourself into because you think that you can't do them or you whatever. And then once you've like figured those out, imagine the possibilities if you were able to get out of that and like do those things. Managing money is something that I have struggled with my whole adult life, and I feel like I might at this point have told myself I'm never going to be good at it, so I should not even think about it, which leads me into practically into some really shitty places, because being afraid to deal with money means that I either overlook things or I expect my husband to handle them. You know, my mom lost her husband when she was 40. I don't want to be in that position. I hope that doesn't happen, but I need to be able to break myself out of that thought. Be an effective parent. This comes not only from my own self-worth issues, but also some things that have been said to me in the past. I struggle with worrying that like between my health problems and my natural like spaciness that I am not doing right by my kids. I tell this to myself on a regular basis. Make and keep adult friends. I feel like I've made some friends, but I'm still not great at keeping them. This is an interesting one about never being a UU minister. The funny thing is that I am the one telling myself this after I give sermons. People in my congregation, including my old minister who I highly respect, have told me I should go to seminary and be a minister, and I've always told myself I can't. It's a lot of school. It's really expensive. I don't like people anyway. Why would I want to do that? But I love giving sermons and I love talking to my congregation in that way, and I care so deeply about them in general and about my like faith as a UU that part of me wonders, is that something I actually could do? And am I just talking myself out of it? And if I am, why? And then I will never be fully successful because my personality is not good enough. This is almost entirely about YouTube and my podcast and in general. And I'm so very grateful for all of you guys who follow me and watch my shit and talk to me. But when you see other people surge past you because of the way that they do their shit, the way they package their content, the way that they don't cuss, or the way that they are less abrasive, or whatever the case may be, and I wonder, is it because I'm not good enough? I don't want to be anybody but me, but maybe who I am isn't good enough. Not that I am ungrateful for the level of success I have managed to find for myself. It seems weird to fucking say that, but it's true. I'm so grateful for my patrons, for all of you who watch me, for everything. But at the same time, whenever I see people seem to do better, I wonder, is there something wrong with me? This is real. I told you it was real. And I don't need you to tell me in the comments that I'm wrong. I appreciate you guys, and I know some of you are racing to your keyboards right now, but honestly, this is not me dogging on myself. This is me being honest with this question here. I guess there's one other thing I need to add, and it's kind of a big one, and I've been afraid to add it, but I'm gonna add it anyway. I get scared to deal with big issues or sad issues or problems that affect me personally. When it's a problem affecting somebody else, I will jump right into the fray. But when it's me, I hide. And the way I hide is by finding the things to do. Because if I can do the things, then I don't have to worry about thinking about the things. One of the reasons I wanted to use this instead of the inkwell press is because I really can't keep doing that. I'm facing kidney failure. I can't hide from that. It's not gonna do me any favors. It's not gonna do my family any favors. So now I get to imagine the possibilities if I were to get out of this, if I were to not let these things define me. Basically, I just did some journaling, and what I wrote is about being vulnerable and how being vulnerable doesn't sacrifice who I am. It just explores more deeply who I am, and it could impact so many things here. It could make me feel more confident that I could be a minister if that's what I wanted, that I could be more effective at being a parent. I could be a better friend, which means I would feel like I was being a better friend, so I would keep more friends, etc. I would be more honest with myself, more at peace with whatever levels of success I've had, so that I don't need to feel so stressed out that I'm never good enough. And it'll help me face my problems in the moment rather than letting things fester. And if I'm better at managing money, then I'll be more financially responsible, which could be better for my life in general. That felt like kind of the odd man out of all of the other things. Here is this last section that I'm going to be working on today, who I really am. All right, so here we go. My name, she said I could be, my name is the mother of my children, but no, my name is Cindy. My name is Cindy. I am a mom, wife, YouTuber, and badass. My husband right here is the one who continually reminds me of that. In the past, I have avoided being vulnerable, but I'm ready to let it all hang out. I value family, friends, our planet, and all people having worth and dignity. Those last two come strongly from my faith. My story so far in just a few words. I figured a flow chart would be better. So I'm a mom of Katie, RJ, and now Loki. I'm a wife. I was a wife of Russell. Now I'm a wife of Jesse. Work. I was a baker and cake decorator. Then I worked at TJ's for 12 years. Now I do YouTube, and YouTube is just the kind of the summation of it. There's more than that, but that's the easiest way to point it out. Hella commitments, at least in the last 10 years or so. I was the president of our parent club. Then I went to be the president of our board at church, and now I am the chair of the social justice committee. My parents are gone. My sisters are still here. I sing with my quartet. I wanted to be a geneticist, but now I'm an artist. And I have PKD. Why do I want to make what matters happen? She said, or why did you choose the Powersheets? Why do you want to make a difference in your life? This is why. I'm going to read this. Life is fucking short. My life is full of turmoil and transition. If I don't dig deeper to find peace, I'll be falling apart in no time. I need to look closer. And that is where I'm going to stop right now. Okay, I'm sitting down for my second day of doing this, and I am on the Cultivated Life evaluation. There's 8 different categories of your life that you're supposed to rate, with 1 being not satisfied at all and want to see big change, and 10 means, according to this, you're happy as a bee on honeysuckle. Isn't that precious? So you're supposed to honestly evaluate each area of your life and then leave a couple thoughts as to why you rated it that way. I don't think I rated anything a 10. The highest I rated something was an 8, and that was my relationship with my spouse. My lowest rating was a 2, and that was for both friends and recreation, which kind of tells you sort of where I feel like I struggle the hardest. In general, let me talk about them. So health, I rated a 3. I didn't really know how to rate this. I'm going into kidney failure. My health isn't great. There's things I'd like to do. I would like to lose a little bit of weight if possible. I need to take care of some dental shit before it becomes a problem. But right now I'm doing the best that I can, but I can't in good conscience rate it higher. I don't feel good, ever. basically. Friends, I rated a 2. I have some friends I love, and I need to prioritize being with them more often, including talking to my sisters more, because as much as they're my sisters, they're also 2 of my best friends, and I don't talk to them anywhere near enough. I am easily a homebody and won't leave the house, and it's easy to do when you work for yourself, to never leave the house and talk to people, or only to talk to the people at like Target or Starbucks. I need to make more time for that. Spouse and significant other, our relationship is doing pretty good. I mean, we're both super anxious about things that aren't, to put this a different way, all of my anxiety is not from my relationship. My relationship helps get me through my anxiety, and I think my husband feels the same way. I just want to spend more quality time with him, and God, I would love to go on a fucking honeymoon. Family, I rated it lower. I rated it a 4, and part of that's because I have teenagers, and we're in a really rocky season, I guess. That's a good word to use with this planner, because that's like the language of it, I guess. Can't control what my kids are going through, but what I can try to work on is how I respond to it. And right now I feel like between my normal like lack of patience and spaciness, my health, I am not responding to my kids' needs the way I should be. So that's something I really want to work on. Finances, I put a 5 because we're doing good, generally speaking. We're paying our bills, we're doing okay. I've been in much more dire straits than this financially. This feels a lot more calm. I suck ass at, and this is a negative self-talk or whatever, but my business finances are a mess. I've always called myself not a civilized business person, and this is something I need to work on. And then also we need to get better about savings. Like, we do put money away in savings and we use it when we need it, but we just need to get more regular at it. Spiritual and personal growth, I rated a 6. I absolutely love my church. I love the stuff I do at my church. I need more balance. I overcommit myself. I swore I wouldn't overcommit myself after I was on the board, and somehow I don't think when I took on the commitments I thought it was overcommitment, but with my health going the way it is, I'm feeling overcommitted, and I need to kind of step away from a couple of things, or at least get better at managing them. And then personal growth outside of the church, therapy. That's going to be starting in January. Work, I put a 6. I'm happy with where my work life is, kind of like my finances. The basics are good, but I do want to put some more stuff into place to be a little bit less precarious, a little bit more stable, and I'm scared. I'm really happy with the things I'm already doing. Adding new things is always scary for me. I'm at a point right now where extra growth feels frightening, so that's something I need to look at. And then recreation, I put a 2. I find it difficult to take time for fun, either with just by myself, or with my husband, or with my kids. I needs more fun. This is my life so far. It gives me a lot of things to look at. This section is the 3 areas you most want to cultivate moving forward. Does not have to be the ones with the lowest scores, but the ones you want to focus on in the season ahead. And so looking at this, family, finances, and spiritual and personal growth. This is a caveat though, because health should also be one of those, but that is a given. It's a weird category for me right now. I'm gonna put one of these little like plants next to health, because even though I'm not circling it, to be perfectly honest, it's not something I want to cultivate. It's something I need to just keep dealing with, and it's gonna underlie everything else I'm doing in my life. And so I don't feel like that's something that I wanna focus on as much as I need to just keep as a priority. This is about how I'm really feeling and what am I gonna let go of moving forward. How do I feel? I feel scared. Guys, I'm not gonna read this, but I'll just tell you, there's a lot of scariness in my life right now. I'm scared about potential dialysis. I'm scared I won't find a living donor and I'll have to wait for 10 years for a kidney transplant. I'm scared I do find a donor and it doesn't work. Or it does work and then there's complications. I'm scared that they won't take my kidneys out. I'm gonna have to keep living with this pain for however long, and I'm scared they are gonna take my kidneys out. I'm gonna have a giant like autopsy cut in me and have to heal from that. Like, in terms of my health, there's so much scariness on all sides. On top of that, I'm scared I'm screwing my kids up. I'm scared that I'm not parenting them the way that they need to be parented. I'm scared that my personal health issues are impacting my kids in a way that I can't handle, or I'm not handling it correctly, and I'm just not adult enough to know how to be the grown-up in this situation. I'm scared I'm relying on my husband and putting too much pressure on him when we need to be partners and not me just being like, I know he doesn't care about that, but it still scares me. And I'm scared that the things I'm doing, the business ad, the Patreon, the YouTube, all of those things, that something's going to happen and it's all going to come crashing down. And I'm not going to know how to keep moving forward because I'm in a position right now where like all I know how to do as a job is make art and work in grocery stores, and working in grocery stores is not really something I can do anymore because of my health. So like it's scary, you know? So I know I need to press forward, and I always press forward. That's just how I've always lived my life. But I'm worried that I will fuck it up somehow and it'll all come crashing down. What am I gonna let go? I can't just drop everything. I've already kind of made that clear, but I can let go of automatically saying yes to everything. I can let go of telling myself I am bad at money, which maybe will help me with some of the financial things and stuff having to do with the work I'm doing. I can let go of telling myself I'm not worth loving, because there are times when I feel like I don't understand why people even like being around me, because it's not really like, am I worth it? I don't know. So that's something I say I'm gonna let go of that's harder to do than just saying it. And then finally, and this I underlined because it kind of summed it up, is that I'm gonna let go of having to be strong all of the time. My tendency is to find what I need to do and do it and just push forward and like power through it and like brute force deal with the situation so that I don't have to stop and be upset. And I've had fucking crying fits multiple times over the last couple of weeks over various things, and that's not something that usually happens to me because I push through it. It occurred to me that maybe if I stopped trying to push through it all the time and I just cried, maybe that would help. Okay, so this is the Meet Your Fears page, but before you do this, there's some encouragement here, and it's actually something that I want to reflect on. It's about comparison is the thief of everything. So celebrate progress, not perfection, cultivate gratitude over comparison. It's pretty flowery language. The message is one I do need to remember, because I feel, and you're gonna see this when I write out my fears because I already know what one of them is. I'm not good enough because I'm not doing as well as X other person. And that's something that I dwell on a lot. I'm afraid of the future because of my PKD, dialysis, transplant, etc. I don't know how to deal with that fear. Even if I was going to step into that, you know, I could just be like, well, things are going to come as they come. Honestly, this one is one that I think just acknowledging it is a big step. It's a big chunk that I don't think I can help solve on my own. I think I need some help. Hence the therapy. I'm afraid of not being good enough because I see so many others doing stuff similar to me and growing so much faster. And then I'm afraid of screwing up my kids because it seems like they're both have lots of struggles right now, and I don't know how to help or deal with them. I mean, part of it's adolescence and being teenagers and getting into adolescence, and I understand that. I know that that's hard for everybody. I just wish I could talk to my mom about it. So if I were to step into these fears, my life would be, well, I'm assuming it would be calmer, less stressed, and more stable if I could at least step into these two. I'm not sure about that one. And I would feel capable and confident. And both of those things are great and things I want. Like, I've already mentioned that I know that a lot of these fears are irrational fears, and I don't know how to step into them. Anyway, this is where the instructional videos end for today, so I will come back to this. So we're on page 18, and we're looking at the good things that happened in 2018, and I need to just list those, like, because it's easy to think about the things that sucked in the year, but not necessarily the good things. So here's a bunch of things that I feel like were good this year. Some of them as an example: getting better at asking for help with my pain management. Not perfect, but I'm getting better. My sister got a kidney, and not only was that amazing for her, but I got to learn from it. You know, things having to do with my work, Christiane Designs and Michaels, starting the podcast. I got to go to an advisory board meeting having to do with PKD in Chicago, and that was super cool. My kids started high school and joined marching band. I gave a couple of pretty bitchin' sermons at church, and I was able to finish my term out on the board really well, actually. I feel like I did a successful job. I had a good amount of progress here. Okay, so here are some of my challenges. A lot of them have to do with overbooking myself, having some financial surprises that we weren't planning for There was a couple things I didn't follow through on that I should have followed through on. I didn't grow as much as I had hoped. I gained some weight. Not to be fair, I mentioned this, my kidneys also got bigger, but I did gain some weight that I was not hoping to. And the biggest one is I'm starting prep work for dialysis. I also put that we didn't get the house painted, although that might be actually happening next week because the weather's getting better. So that may be something that happens in 2018 still. There's one more I want to add. I worked a lot. When you work for yourself, it's easy to always be working. My balance has been really bad. And I know it's not really a thing, but like I think the quality time with my kids and my husband has really suffered this year. So this page is about the lessons that I learned from the good and the bad. First lesson is I need to stay on top of both my physical and my mental health. This came from watching my sister. I got to watch her go through the transplant process to start dialysis, all of the health issues that she had, and she flat out told me that seeing a therapist and staying on top of her mental health was as important to getting through the process as going to all of the doctors for her kidneys, that it was necessary. And I'm already starting to see the cracks where I am struggling. And so I've already made an appointment. My first appointment with the therapist is next month. So I am taking that lesson to heart. The second lesson is one that I've tried to tell myself before and it hasn't really stuck, but it's that no is a complete sentence. Constantly overbook myself. If you listen to my podcast with Brandy Lee, we talk about the over-volunteer-itis. Well, that has always been me. My husband this year put his foot down, told me I wasn't allowed to volunteer for anything else unless I dropped something, but that doesn't stop the fact that I still had overcommitted myself before he put his foot down. This is a lesson that I have thought I've learned before, but not really. This year I need to focus on it. Lesson number 3, you can't expect growth if you don't do the things you need to do to grow. Kind of goes hand in hand. Some of my challenges were about follow through and some of my challenges are about not growing the way that I wanted to. And I feel like if I'm not doing the things that will take me to that, how can I expect it to happen magically? Can't control the outcome, but I can control what I do. That's something I got from one of my notes from my big notes from the bullet journal book. Finally, lesson number 4, if I can make money management a habit, it'll stick. And I say this because one of the things I forgot to write, my good things, is that I controlled my blood pressure. My blood pressure is beautiful. I went into the doctor today to get the pre-op surgery in the morning, and my blood pressure was like 110/69. Like, it was beautiful blood pressure. And I take my meds right on time, and I've been tracking it, and it's because I made a habit out of it this year. It was a focus for me this year. And so if I can apply the same logic, breaking it into pieces and making a habit out of it, then a lot of the things like getting the house painted and putting savings away and things like that, that'll come if I can focus on making the habit. Okay, the next section has the things that are confusing, that are remaining confusing, unanswered or unresolved, and then the people you're grateful for and why. And then you're supposed to take a second and start thanking them by text or talking to them personally. I'm not going to do that right this second. I'm going to focus on that this weekend. The next day, I had gotten part of the way through this yesterday, and then Jesse got home, so I had to stop. So we'll go back. I think I was at the people I'm grateful for. And what I was going to say was that all of you who are on here, if you see yourself on here or not, if you're watching my video, you do see yourself on here. My community, that's you, my friends. I'm going to spend the next weekend or so reaching out to people and thanking them for being part of my life, for helping me with all the things, for just being there, because that's important. Starting a new fine liner. I blunted the fuck out of mine doing my work this week. Now you're like supposed to claim all of the things that you're going to say no to, whether they're big or small, and the things you're going to say yes to in the upcoming year. Some of the things I'm saying no to, not the whole list, but some of them at least. I think I put all of the church commitments. I didn't mean all of them. There's a few that I'm fine with sticking to, but I put that here, but then later I put taking on new church responsibilities. So obviously there's something on my mind here. Mindless scrolling, doing things because I think I have to for the algorithm, being afraid to ask to be on someone's podcast or having someone be on mine. And I'm saying yes to forgiveness, to reading more, to quality time over quantity, to trying new things, to being okay with not being okay, and paying people to help me edit and potentially clean my house. I had one more thought too. I want to say yes to doing things with my husband and with my kids that aren't just like the same old, like saying yes to stepping outside of our comfort zone and exploring more, whether it's going new places or just doing something different. The next part here is about what fires me up. It says to talk about the things that fuel you to make what matters happen. I decided to print out a couple of pictures of my kids and my husband and my cat. I'll put some other stuff on here too, I think. So here are a bunch of things. I don't even know if this is the whole of it. Oh, and reading. So this feels like a lot of great things for me. I'm gonna work on this big picture, thinking about where I wanna be when I'm 80, what will and won't be important to me then. This should be interesting. Love overall, I feel like when I'm 80, I'm going to be just concerned with family and my health, and that's about it. This page is to write words about my big picture or make a vision board for your year ahead. If you can envision your most purposeful year yet, what would it look like? So I'm in a letter for this, but I will probably at some point go and make a Pinterest board as well. This is basically just some like thinking about what I want my year to look like. Notice I have to deal with this fucker on here because it's reality, right? There's some encouragement here and you're supposed to think about what's been holding you back the most. And for me, it could either be fear or comparison. I want to say comparison though. I feel like, well, I'm afraid of a lot of things. Comparison is what always bites me in the ass whenever I feel like I've gotten a handle on life. If I start to feel inadequate or that I'm comparing myself too much to somebody, it always turns my frown even deeper into the down. So cheesy. So I think I'm gonna put that. I added it on just because I had a little bit of room. This part is about brainstorming the word of the year, but I'm not actually gonna brainstorm here because I did a lot of that brainstorming on my podcast. I had a lot of feelings about the whole word of the year thing and how I kind of approach it. How do I actually use it? Have I ever followed through on it? A lot of that's on the podcast, but I will tell you that I still hadn't come up with a potential word. The notes, I will copy them out of my bullet journal and put them in here. I made 2 notes while I was thinking about it. This is basically what it boiled down to. The idea that like my goal with everything I do ultimately is to like commiserate with other people and to connect through that, to share our experiences, not just the good, happy, fun experiences, but the other parts of our lives that aren't so pretty, that are more complicated and more stressful, and talk about those. And maybe by talking about them, find other people who can commiserate, and then we can connect and explore all of the parts of our lives. So what I try to do here on the channel, that's why I'm sharing all of this with you, even though this is kind of personal. And I talk, like I said, I talk about this in the podcast. And the other thing is, I find it difficult to resonate with people unless they're showing me their reality. When I see only the most curated of your life, I don't resonate, and that's why I don't follow a lot of people like that. So I prefer to show reality. It may not be pretty, it may not pull in the most followers, but if I resonate with somebody, that's more important to me than the number. So I was talking about all of this and I couldn't figure out what a word could be. And I was, like I said, I was still kind of shying away from the concept. Then I talked to my sister on the phone and she was like, dude, I know your word. Your word is connection. Because that's what you care about and that's what you're going to be looking for this year, both with other people and into yourself. Connect with the parts of yourself that need help and need to be like dealt with and talked to and nurtured. So that's my word, is connection. So now we're on this page and she says to go through and write down the things that matter most. And if you wind up repeating any of it, like the stuff you've been talking about, and I know I will because I've been repeating it, that's good because that'll help point you towards the things that should help you focus on what your goals should be. So what matters most to me? Some of this shouldn't be a surprise. My family, my friends, my community, my church, connecting with people, embracing creativity, both with the art that I like to do and by finding more creative ways to just be in this world, introspection and examining myself, my choices and my motivations, and learning to be more kind and patient, especially to myself. This page is meant to be like a declaration of what I want at the end of this year, and it's really summarizing a lot of the stuff we've already talked about. So I'm going to be referencing back when I'm filling this out. So I'm going to read this to you guys, and this is me being vulnerable, so be kind. My name is Cindy. I dream of being okay with myself. I'm deciding that I want to make what matters happen because I am worth it and my family is worth it. The parts of my life that need to be cultivated the most are my health, mentally and physically, and my relationships. In order to do this, I'm letting go of saying yes to extra commitments and comparison. My word for the year is connection, because everything I do is to connect myself and others. I will live this by saying yes to asking for help and forgiveness, and saying no to comparison and being afraid. I will surround myself with a less negative self-talk and fill my life with more friends and quality time and help. My definition of success is trying, taking risks, and going along the journey. I'll start living my vision for this year by focusing on what matters, which is family and being connected. When I'm 80, I want to be surrounded by family, happy and healthy as possible. So that brings me to the end of the prep work. The next section of this is the goal setting, and I will do that in another video. So I hope you found that somewhat helpful. Now, there's going to be a second part to this. It's going to come out in a couple of days, and that is going to be where I fill out the actual goal setting sheets, taking all the work that was done here and setting goals for 2019 and action plans based on the work I've already done. I will also do the January prep work. I highly suggest you subscribe if you haven't already, if you're excited to see that one coming out. If you have a word of the year, tell me what it is. If you don't have a word of the year because you don't want to, tell me why you don't do it, because I think that everything is valid. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.